One of the things that you probably want to do at some point is start to leverage your own SSH keys and use SSH keys to log into your devices. Routers, switches, firewalls, or servers, this is a great candidate for it. Now the big question starts to come in is where are those SSH keys going to come from? You can generate SSH keys locally on your own machine and then add them to your operating system's running SSH daemon. That is your first option right here under local. Pretty much every Linux or macOS machine today ships with an SSH daemon, or at least an SSH client, so that it can start working with it. If you generate SSH keys, you would then add them to the daemon with ssh-add, and these commands you can find on Transit's documentation under create an auth profile. So if at any point you get lost about this, you can just go to the Transit docs. You can even drop the docs into your favorite LLM and then ask it questions about what to do next, and that'll help. But large enterprises, teams, or enthusiast individuals may want to start leveraging 1Password. 1Password, of course, is a vault for storing secrets and credentials, and that's not exclusive to SSH keys. It can store your SSH keys. But even better, 1Password can serve your SSH keys. So when you go to log in with Transit using SSH keys, it can be gated by 1Password first. Ultimately meaning you can use your biometrics, like your fingerprints, to log in to your remote devices, which is really cool. And this is an even bigger win for enterprises because they may have a shared vault where they share credentials back and forth. Now, here's the kicker with 1Password. It does have some OS-specific setup needs. For instance, on macOS, this is an interesting thing that a lot of people will learn about macOS if you didn't already know this. On macOS, where you launch the application from determines what environment variables you get. For instance, if you're on the terminal, like I am up here, and you say open transit.app, it'll launch the application, but it will get a different set of environment variables than if you had, say, launched it from the Finder or from your dock at the bottom of the screen. So I'll say Finder/dock here. And ultimately, you need to understand, okay, well, if I launch it from the terminal, I need to have this environment variable set so that it gets to 1Password. Or if I launch it from Finder or the dock, I have to have that environment variable set in order for Transit to be able to reach 1Password. The environment variable is the same, it's just set in two different places. Look, right here, if I do echo SSH auth sock, right here, you can see, in my case, my environment, my CLI, already is pointed to 1Password right there. You can see that. Yours, by default, probably won't. It'll be pointed towards the default operating system SSH sock. And at that point, you'll have to redirect it. You'll have to change your environment variable if you want Transit to use 1Password. Then similarly, if you want to launch Transit from the dock, you're looking for launch ctl get env and then ssh auth sock. This is the different environment variable, even though it's got the same name, that also points to 1Password. In my case, I have already set both my CLI environment and my Finder/dock environment to point to 1Password. Again, the instructions on how to set this up are already in Transit's documentation. So on the docs page, I'll go to create an auth profile and I'll scroll down until you get to the SSH agent section. Here are the commands for if you just want to use your local SSH daemon. You can generate keys and then use ssh-add, specifying the path to the private key to add it to your SSH daemon. Then, if you want to use 1Password, this is where it starts to talk about setting up SSH auth sock. And right there, you see backend 1Password agent settings. Again, we can scroll down right here, and if you're launching this from your dock, like in Finder or in macOS, here are the commands that you need to do to set up your launch CTL environment. Ultimately, you are, pretty much after every reboot of macOS, you will have to do the kill all Finder and dock. It'll just reboot these things, and then it'll have the new environment variables pointed towards the 1Password SSH auth sock. Again, if you have any challenges with this, provide these docs to your favorite LLM and just ask it to walk you through the process. The process is relatively simple. It's just a couple commands, but it is something that you have to get through the first time you do it. Then from there, you can open up 1Password, you can create a new item, hit show more, and do SSH key. If you already have SSH keys, you can drag the private key right here, or you can generate a new SSH key by clicking add private key, generate new key, leave it on ED25519 unless your specific platform doesn't support that, like old Cisco models only support RSA. Click generate right here and save, and now you have SSH keys. Now the big thing you want to do from here is tell Transit that Transit knows it's just going to use the default SSH daemon, whatever it's given its environment variable. So all it really needs to know is what's the fingerprint of the SSH key you want. Hit copy right here, launch Transit, bring up a new auth profile, and on the secret backend, choose SSH agent. This SSH agent, again, is whatever the environment pointed it to when you launch this app. Paste in the public key fingerprint right there, give it a name, and tell it what username you're going to use, and then you're off to the races. The next time you log in with this device, if it's pointed to 1Password, it's going to ask for some sort of biometric scan to unlock 1Password and access the key.